Rajput is a member of one of the patrilineal clans of western, central, northern India and some parts of Pakistan. They claim to be descendants of ruling Hindu warrior classes of North India. Rajputs rose to prominence during the 9th to 12th centuries. Until the 20th century, Rajputs ruled in the overwhelming majority of the princely states of Rajasthan and Surashtra, where the largest number of princely states were found. The Rajput population and the former Rajput states are found spread through much of the subcontinent, particularly in north, west and central India. Populations are found in Rajasthan, Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, Haryana, Jammu, Punjab, Sindh, Uttarakhand, Madhya Pradesh and Bihar. History. Origins. The origin of Rajputs is the subject of debate. Writers such as M.S. Naravan and B.P. Malik believe that the term was not used to designate a particular tribe or social group until the 6th century AD, as there is no mention of the term in the historical record as pertaining to a social group prior to that time. One theory espouses that with the collapse of the Gupta Empire from the late 6th century, the invading Hephthalites were probably integrated within Indian society. Leaders and nobles from among the invaders were assimilated into the Kshatriya ritual rank in the Hindu Varna system, while others who followed and supported Thema such as the Urs, Gujars and Jats, were ranked as cultivators. At the same time, some indigenous tribes were ranked as Rajput, examples of which are the Bundelas, Chandelas and Raithas. Encyclopaedia Britannica notes that Rajputs actually vary greatly in status, from princely lineages, such as the Gurhilat and Kachwaha, to simple cultivators. Adagdi Kurbanov says that the assimilation was specifically between the Hephthalites, Gujars, and people from northwestern India, forming the Rajput community. Pradeep Barua says of their defining characteristic that what makes the Rajputs stand out from the rest of Indian society was not their foreign origins but their fanatical attempts to assert their Kshatriya status. Over time, other Indian groups followed their example and claimed descent from the mythological solar and lunar races, establishing themselves as Rajputs in various parts of western and central India. Rajput Kingdoms. From the beginning of the 9th century, Rajput dynasties dominated northern parts of India, and the many petty Rajput kingdoms became the primary obstacle to the complete Muslim conquest of Hindu India. Even after the Muslim conquest of the Punjab and the Ganga River Valley, the Rajputs maintained their independence in Rajasthan and the forests of central India. Later, Sultan Alauddin Khilji of Khilji dynasty took the two Rajput forts of Chaita and Ranthambore in eastern Rajasthan but could not hold them for long. Maratha domination and British rule. The internal conflicts which existed among the Rajput communities were significant in enabling the Mughal invaders to achieve control over them, while nonetheless recognizing the role of the Rajputs as a ruling class. British colonial period. James Todd, a British colonial official, was impressed by the military qualities of the Rajputs but is today considered to have been unusually enamored by them. They venerate him to this day but he is viewed by many historians since the late 19th century as being a not particularly reliable commentator. Jason Freytag, his only significant biographer, has said that Todd is manifestly biased. The Rajput practice of female infanticide and sati was another matter of concern to the British colonialists. It was believed that the Rajputs were the primary adherents to these practices, which the Raj considered to be savage and which was the initial impetus for British ethnographic studies of the subcontinent that eventually manifested itself as a much wider exercise in social engineering. In reference to the role of the Rajput soldiers serving under the British banner, Captain A. H. Bingley states, "Rajputs have served in our ranks from Plassey to the present day. They have taken part in almost every campaign undertaken by the Indian armies. Under Forde they defeated the French at Condor. Under Monroe at Bugzau they routed the forces of the Nawab Oud. Under Lake they took part in the brilliant series of victories which destroyed the power of the Marathas. Independent India. On India's independence in 1947, the princely states, including those of the Rajput, were given three choices: join either India or Pakistan, or remain independent. Rajput rulers of the 22 princely states of Rajasthan acceded to newly independent India, amalgamated into the new state of Rajasthan in 1949–1950. Initially the Maharajas were granted funding from the Privy Purse in exchange for their acquiescence, but a series of land reforms over the following decades weakened their power, and their Privy Purse was cut off during Indira Gandhi's administration under the 1971 Constitution 26th Amendment Act. The estates, treasures, and practices of the old Rajput rulers now form a key part of Rajasthan's tourist trade and cultural memory. In 1951, the Rajput Rana dynasty of Nepal came to an end, having been the power behind the throne of the Shah monarch's figureheads since 1846. The Rajputs of India are today considered to be a forward caste in the country's system of positive discrimination. This means that they receive no favour from the administration. Subdivisions. There are several major subdivisions of Rajputs, known as Vansh or Vamshur, the step below the superdivision Jati. These Vansh delineate claimed descent from various sources, and the Rajput are generally considered to be divided into three primary Vansh. Suryavanshi denotes descent from the solar deity Surya, Chandravanshi from the lunar deity Chandra, and Agni Vanshi from the fire deity Agni. The four prominent clans in the post-Gupta period are Chauhans, Paramaras, Pratisharas and Solankis. All claim their mythological origin to have been from a sacrificial fire at Mount Abu. Lesser noted Vansh include Udavanshi, Brahvanshi, and Rishivanshi. The histories of the various Vanshis were later recorded in documents known as Vamshur Valaris. Andhra copyright Wink counts these among the status legitimizing texts. Beneath the Vansh division are smaller and smaller subdivisions, Kul, Shak, Kamp or Khamp, and Nak. Marriages within a Kul are generally disallowed. The Kul serves as primary identity for many of the Rajput clans, and each Kul is protected by a family goddess, the Kuldevi. Lindsay Harlan notes that in some cases, Skaks have become powerful enough to be functionally Kuls in their own right. Culture and ethos. The Rajputs were a martial race in the period of the British Raj. This was a designation created by administrators that classified each ethnic group as either martial, or non-martial. A martial race was typically considered brave and well-built for fighting, whilst the remainder were those whom the British believed to be unfit for battle because of their sedentary lifestyles. Rajput lifestyle. The double-edged scimitar known as the Khanda was a popular weapon among the Rajputs of that era. On special occasions, a primary chief would break up a meeting of his vassal chiefs with Khanda Nariyal, the distribution of daggers and coconuts. Another affirmation of the Rajput's reverence for his sword was the Kargashapna ritual, performed during the annual Navaratri festival, after which Rajput is considered free to indulge his passion for rapine and revenge. By the late 19th century, there was a shift of focus among Rajputs from politics to a concern with kinship. Many Rajputs of Rajasthan are nostalgic about their past and keenly conscious of their genealogy, emphasizing Rajput ethos that is martial in spirit, with a fierce pride in lineage and tradition. Rajput diet. The Anthropological Survey of India identified that in Gujarat, Rajputs are by and large non-vegetarians, regular drinkers of alcohol, and also smoke and chew betel leaves. These traits are also followed in Rajputs of Maharashtra, with mutton, chicken, fish being consumed, and also pork. See also, religious liberalism in Rajput courts, list of Rajput dynasties, Rajput wedding, Punjabi Rajput, Sindhi Rajput, Dogra Rajput, Sikh Rajputs, Muslim Rajputs, list of Rajputs, references. Further reading, M.K.A. Siddiqui, Marginal Muslim Communities in India, Institute of Objective Studies, New Delhi, Dasharatha Sharma Rajasthan Through the Ages, a comprehensive and authentic history of Rajasthan, prepared under the orders of the Government of Rajasthan. First published 1966 by Rajasthan Archives. This article incorporates text from a publication now in the public domain, Chisholm, Hugh, ed. Encyclopædia Britannica. Cambridge University Press. External links, Rajput's Columbia Encyclopedia, 6th edition. 2005.